Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a short and sweet idea towards Parashat Mishpatim, Rosh Chodesh Adar Aleph. We're coming towards in a few days' time, and in Parashat Mishpatim we have two words, and these two words are iconic. These two words are central to our identity. These two words are so important that the Malachim, that the Medrash tells us, the Malachim, the angels in heaven, were shocked that the Jewish people said these two words. These two words are only said by angels. How come human beings are on such a level that they're saying these two words? What are the two words? Naaseh v'nishma. We will do and we will hear. What is so special about these two words, Naaseh v'nishma, that actually the heavens were shaking because the angels were astonished? What is it? So I want to give you a few different explanations. Let's first look at Rashi, and we say Rashi doesn't relate to these two words, but his grandson, the Rashbam, does relate to these two words and says something very profound. He says, one second, we have a unique situation here, that they have already received quite a few mitzvot, but not even half of the mitzvot yet. And they're saying Naaseh about the mitzvot. We will do the mitzvot we've already been commanded. V'nishma, and we will listen in order to do the mitzvot you're still about to tell us. This reminds us of a very special moment of emunah by Avraham Avinu. Chazal tell us by Avraham Avinu, we got to such a high level of emunah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was so impressed that he promised him all these things. What was that high level of emunah? Because the first commandment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to Avraham Avinu is Lech lecha me'artzecha u'mimoladcha mibet avicha el ha'aretz asher ha'ika. You have to leave the town of your father, of your birth, and where to go. He didn't tell him exactly where to go. He didn't tell him what to put in his ways and how long it'll take and which how far you'll have to walk. It's El Haaretz Asher Areka, which means to the land that I will show you, which means when you'll get there, I'll let you know. So Avraham Avinu started walking without knowing how long and how far he'd have to walk. And he walked and walked and walked until he got there. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu said to him, this is it, you've arrived. So Avraham said, oh, really, you've arrived? I was willing to walk to the end of the world for you. But to be willing to do such a thing, let's go into the psychology of this for a moment. Just imagine you have to in a swimming pool. You dive in a swimming pool and there's a big pipe, big open pipe there. You can swim through a pipe, and let's say the pipe is 1 meter long. So can you dive in a swimming pool and swim a whole meter in a pipe under the water? Sure, you can. What if it's 2 meters? Okay, we have to take a bit more air. We do 2 meters. What if the pipe, we don't know how long the pipe is? We lose our air immediately. We give up very fast. We have to know. The minute we do not know how long this is going to take, it is mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. It's very difficult. And therefore, the nisayon, the mitzvah that Avraham Avinu did by going to where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to show him, not knowing how long and how far it's going to take, it's a big act of emunah. In the same way, when the Jewish people said, Naaseh v'nishma, we will do the mitzvot we've already been told, but we'll also do all the mitzvot we have not yet been told, without knowing how many mitzvot are still going to come. At the end, it was only 613. That's nothing. We could have done many, many more because we already committed ourselves to do as many mitzvot as we will be told. That's Rashbam. The Rabbi Yitzchak Arama, the Akedat Yitzchak, has an interesting idea, which is Naaseh v'nishma means only by doing the deed do we really understand the mitzvah. The understanding comes from the doing. Let me give you an example. Can you explain to somebody what is the taste of a banana? Can you explain to somebody what the taste is? You can't really. You have to actually give them to taste it in order to understand it. Ta'amu u'ru'u ki tov Hashem, says David HaMelech in Tehillim. We have to taste it in order to understand the mitzvahs. And therefore, na'aseh v'nishma means we have to do the mitzvahs in order to understand them. Only somebody who's really kept Shabbos can really get to start understanding the meaning of Shabbos. Just learning mitzvahs in a theoretical way doesn't connect. It doesn't make you understand. Na'aseh we will do in order to understand. That's the second explanation. The third explanation is the Sforno. The Sforno says, well, the Torah is infinite, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is infinite. Na'aseh v'nishma means when we do the deed, we hear the words which are infinite. By doing mitzvot, we get onto the train of infinity. For those moments that we're involved in a mitzvah, we become infinite and we're connecting to infinity. And we have our merit is infinite. For each mitzvah we do has an infinite value. And that is Na'aseh v'nishma, according to the Sforno. I just want to end with a fourth idea, which is the Sfat Emet. He was the Rebbe of Gur. After the Chidushei Harim, his grandfather was the first Rebbe of Gur. And he has a very wonderful idea as far as understanding the symbolic moment we do every day to remind ourselves of Na'aseh v'nishma. What is that symbolic moment? It's putting on tefillin. Why? Because we first put the tefillin on our hands, and our hands, most of the things we do, our deeds are with our hands. And therefore that's Na'aseh. We will get our hands involved in mitzvot. And then we'll do nishma, we'll put the tefillin on our head, because as far as hearing and understanding, everything that's got to do with hearing, with understanding is in our head, it's in our eyes, it's in our ears, we understand through our head. And therefore, we put on first tefillin shel yad, the one on our hand, to do na'aseh, and then we put the tefillin on our head of nishma, and this way we are embodying that magical moment of na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. Let me just explain to you why not the opposite. A person who only does the mitzvot that he understands is not worshiping God, he's worshiping himself. Because he's saying, my understanding is the center of the universe. But the minute we say, no, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the center of the universe. And therefore, first of all, we'll do what he said we should do. And then hopefully one day we'll also understand it. But you know what? We'll also do it if we don't understand it. But we'll first of all do it because we're not the center of the universe. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem is the center of the universe. And therefore, he ends off with a beautiful idea, saying, you know what, when you're, let's say, give an example, when we are taught to to wash our hands before eating bread. So when we were very young, our parents told us to wash hands. We went to the tap and washed our hands a bit. And okay, we did na'aseh, we did the deed. Later on, we learned about the tilat yadayim, about washing hands before eating bread. And we learned that it has to go in, you have to put the water in a cup, and they have to pour the cup on one hand, on the other hand. We learned the details. That means when you do it the first time, you do it in a general way. Na'aseh is done in a general way. And the deed is done in a general way. And stage 2 is nishma. We learn how to do it. And because we've learned how to do it exactly, we go back and do the fine tuning. And he says, that is what we do with our tefillin. We put first on the hand, and we wrap it around our hand, and we put it on our head. But now that we've understood, the fine tuning is going back and putting the tefillin on our fingers very delicately. That's the fine tuning of doing the mitzvah properly after we've understood it, after it's been through the nishma. So those are the 4 ideas I wanted to share with you. First of all, the Rashbam telling us about Na'aseh v'nishma, the past and the future. Rabbi Yitzchak Ramah, Kirat Yitzchak, talking about how the doing brings us to understand it. The third one was the Sforno, he said, that's connecting to eternity. And finally was the Sfat Emet, who says we embody this idea in symbolic language through doing the mitzvah of tefillin every day, Naaseh, Benishma, tefillin shel Yad, and tefillin shel Rosh. Ladies and gentlemen, this is part of our identity, and this idea of Naaseh Benishma, according to all these four interpretations, we should have on our mind every day of our life. Shabbat Shalom.